All right, let's go at it here. Four-hour, we've had this pullback this morning. It's kind of the same thing here in this pullback on the hourly. We've got these wicks again. It's kind of holding at this band. We'll see if it can finish out a bottom here. When it gets pretty steep like this, you gotta definitely be patient. Let's go through crude. So crude on the rollover, unfortunately, these charts jump, although this month it wasn't so bad. It's just 50 cents, so had that jump up, that's what that is. It's not a gap in price. But basically we're getting down to that level. You can see how we've been in that range we've talked about, choppiness. Now we're getting to that lower part of the range. Question is, do we break down? I would have to think that it would bounce just because there's so much momentum to the upside. Let's go to 1 hour. Let's go to the 5 minute. On the couple trades this morning, I'm not sure if there was, both times it got in and it looked like it missed it and then it went around. So I don't know if I had a delay on I had problems with my T4 this morning. Unfortunately, I just got flat and got out of it on a pretty decent spike there, 10-pointer. I don't know if anyone else had problems with their T4. Got up this morning, was logged off. I tried to log on like 4 times. The app was fine, but I'm not sure what that issue was with T4. People have asked about this. The application actually connects to the same way. It's called an API. So the app connects to an API, and then same thing with their charts and the ladder. So, but because there's less going on, the way the connection is a very simplistic connection versus I'm not sure. I think they do more of a looser connection because it's a sim on the chart, so that's why I get the app pretty much stays on all the time. Like I said, my T4 was off, but the app was still connected and getting quotes. Getting a little bit of bounce here. Once again, when you step back and look, this is yesterday's open and spike, and then the spike from 2 days ago, which we were below 4,500. You could see that old resistance where it broke out here becomes new support. So let's see, on a 5-minute, here's how it looks. You made a low, lower low. 15-minute, though, it looks different. It's pretty interesting, and sometimes that happens. Same price action. Like to see if this can come back down into like the, let me go look over here, like 09. Uh, Here's the bonds. So that was the better than expected housing numbers that came in, and then we had this sell off here. So let's step back. The 1 hour. So you can see how the bond market's had a pretty decent down move today. There was also news out of Europe. So basically, the ECB said they're going to accelerate their purchases the next month or two because in the summer the liquidity is so low. So there's pretty big. Obviously, it's been in the market, so we had a couple big down moves, which is dollar rallying. See the yen. You can see how the yen's also started to rally, so I would think that would translate at some point to the stock market rally. Seems very lagged lately, though. See if we get a shot below these bands again. Even 08. Let me look at Let's even go to the 1 minute. So I like how the bands are starting to come up on the red. Could get a push up to 16. Crew just keeps getting beat up. Let me I'm going to show how the systems, how they're running, and how we're going to roll them out. I've got it running to other practice accounts, and then we'll get that rolling out. I'd say tomorrow. All right. See if it pulled up. It's going to take probably a minute, so we'll go back and look. Go back to the 5 minute. Minimize this. Oh wow, this goes over the top. All right, so here's all the different systems that I have running. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different. They're getting their oh, I think I have to make sure I mute this. So this is the app that's actually collecting the data. It's the same, you could see it's the same app that you guys have. Creates the bars, and then this is the one app that's sending out trades currently. This is going to a different channel, so it'll be set up as a different channel. These are the different trades. It was initiated at -24. So what you do is you wait for it to get into a position where it's slightly down, and then now it's entered. So you actually had made 24 ticks plus 6, so 30. These are the trades. These are the messages being sent. And then these are the trades here. Oops, just sent something right now. It keeps trying to buy and then it fails, so it's just kind of chipping away there. This is the 5-minute system that will also be running. So this is a little bit longer term, more. I would almost call it swing trade. I mean, it's up 98 to almost $1 in crude. So you're looking at a pretty good, more of a swing trade type style, and then it's also short up 9.5 points on the Nasdaq. So you can see how all the trades get sent out. And then there's just the individual version. So this is just the Nasdaq. It's pretty choppy, so it's kind of bouncing back and forth. Here's crude. And then the combined. If I see anything change, I'll drag that back over. Right now it's flat, the Nasdaq. It's still short crude. I think eventually there's probably, at this current structure, it needs a pretty decent rally to get flat, so could be a spot to take profits for that system. Because usually when I look at the different types of systems, they go a certain amount, and it's, there's within reason. This one particular trade's up, it's just up almost a full $1, so that's pretty much you're way outside the normal range anywhere on crude. If you're short up $1, one would start to think that that's, especially when you start looking at the average true range for the day and stuff like that, it's getting, could be getting close to the near a bottom at least, or near the realistic move that's possible. It can't go down $5. Well, I mean, I guess technically it can, but it's pretty rare. Let's see if we get the Nasdaq down to below these bands again. But you could also see too on the way the sell-off, it's kicking and screaming on its way down. Verse, let's go. Gotta go to the daily. Versus when it gets in a multiple day downtrend, you could see on days like this we had. I think that day it lost 100. Pretty close to it. 33. Yeah, it lost 100 on that day on the Nasdaq. So you can see how when you start looking at a 5-minute, how when the higher time frame, well, just maybe stick with the 1 hour. the 1 hour is up, you can see how it's still, the sell-offs are not those massive waterfalls, unless you get news like that other day. So fund manager guys are, I want to get long in here, I want to get long in here. They might put a little exposure on, or if they have really favorite stocks, you know, you start breaking down stocks and what are your favorite types of stocks you might be able to get in on a pullback, and the market may still go down and your stock might go up. So now it just got out. You could see at 10:03 sold crude, and then just bought it back 10:51. So it's actually 9:03. So $9.03 was, gotta go to the minute. Got short at 90, and then it just got out at 53. $60. So that's 30. That's 30 points, or $300. All right, going back and testing the lows again. Let me auto align that. Here's our, let me spread this out a little. That tick range chart we've talked about. Kind of in the same area, and it's actually lower, so it's a little bit of a bearish divergence. I don't think the stock market really bounces until you get oil. Get oil turning around. There goes oil making a push lower. I guess now I could expand it over that chart. We'll wait for that to come up. But this is the tick range chart. We'll take a look at that on crude. Because we just made a new low, we'll see if there's a bullish divergence. And it's basically pinned at 0. So this is a 20 tick range chart. Expand it out a little bit. Or auto center it. That's just a rollover, so that's why it jumped. So pretty close to that area. Still like to see crude bounce a little bit. Now for this to hold, another new low on crude. Basically a 6 or 7 point sell-off each one of these little cliffs that you're seeing when it sells off like that. I don't see the urgency in the sell-offs. Got a little support in crude. We'll see if that starts to translate. I think it's pretty telling when the ECB starts talking about they're buying bonds, and they're basically like, we're going to increase their bond buying. So let's pull up the DAX. There's the DAX. So that's a 15-minute chart of the DAX. Go to a 1 hour. So that one number on that Econo day that I was showing you was the business sentiment survey that's pretty important, big number in Germany, and it came in way, way worse than expected. So they had they had to throw that little tidbit of information out there about buying more bonds. But this is a pretty big divergence. So this is their 5-minute market, and this is ours. When you compare the two. There goes a bigger push lower. So this gets back to candlesticks like we were talking about yesterday. Bullish candle, actually even had an arrow, it rallied a little bit, and then the first candle after it down right away. That's showing more distribution, a heavier market. Another bouncing candle, next candle down. I mean, it feels like it's got to take out that low now. So if you think about it, once again, about that whole idea of inventory, so you're looking at the buyers. There's massive buyers for the mutual fund complex. There's massive buyers for pension funds, etc. Long only. I mean, that's their charter. They can only be long. So they're just sitting here waiting and saying, okay, market sold off. Nope, it has to go lower to pull up some inventory. They buy, and then they stop buying. They don't just keep buying and buy. You know, they don't start buying here and they buy here and they buy here. They just only buy, and then it gets above a certain, whatever their value level is, they stop buying. And then this is short-term trader. These are the guys that were short. They covered, because usually a massive spike like that is a short covering rally. After that, these might even be people trying to get long. Then on the flip side, when it starts spiking into the higher levels, those guys might be taking profits. I mean, if you think about it from a mentality, we've got short-term views, but really the whole market moves on the longer term. Where does a guy with 500 million under management go and get to work? He's not buying up here. I always like to look at clues. Of how prior, we could be doing this lower low sell off before the next rally underneath the band. So we failed again. You'd almost want to see a lower low. You also start to put this in perspective. That was that old support will come into play also. And then old resistance is current support. Hard to see the candles with it that zoomed in or zoomed out. Let's go back to the 15-minute. So crude looks very anemic. Just no lift at all. That's how we can read the candlesticks again. Sell off, lower low, lower low, triple bottom, barely breaks above that. As soon as it breaks below that, that's when the waterfall starts. So if you look at that old resistance, should be support. When it broke it, that's where the waterfall really started. It feels like it needs some kind of terminal massive sell-off to end out this down move. Stepping back, that's the 15 minutes already at the band. $61. Here we go, looking for more inventory. So eventually there's a price level that the bigger buyers will step in, and this way a guy that wants to put a couple $100 million to work, you can't do that when there's, where's the, you start to look at what the volume is, etc. If these guys buy tens of thousands of contracts, well, here's just in this area is 1,000 contracts. They have to buy 10,000. So imagine if some guy came in and bid 10,000 contracts right now. If this said not 24 contracts, but 10,000 contracts. And that's just one fund. It would probably take that's 1,000, that's probably 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000. So from every contract that's traded from 08 to 02, that would be one order for 10,000 contracts. That's one fund. If there's 10 funds that want to do, they want to buy 100,000 contracts. Well, they need to get that. They need to get that volume up. So now you see why they don't just go and buy up here at the peaks, because you can't. There isn't even enough available to buy. So when you think of that size, they can only buy in pullbacks. S&P is pretty highly correlated today. They're both, actually the Nasdaq made a new low, so the Nasdaq's more bearish, which is strange because crude's been beat up, so you would think that the S&P made a lower low. Must be banks. With the yield curve steepening, so when the interest rates are going up, bond price goes down. That's actually, it helps the banks. Plus, we'll see if we get a bounce now. So I've got an anchor price. I look at where we bottomed out and where it's starting to come through some of these different areas. So I have it at 04. So if we bounce up, come back, test that at the right area, that's definitely an area we'll get long. So if it gets up to this top Bollinger Band, pulls back, we'll see if we can get a buy signal. So when you look at systems trading, like right now, my higher time frame, let me look, the 5 minute The 5 minute's still short. The 1 minute's flat. So that's starting to be a first clue that the market's turning. Both. Actually, I think the crude 1 minute just actually got long 4 ticks ago. Should run into trouble here at 07. You can see how crude is bounced. Now relieving pressure off the stock market. There's no bullish divergence on these tick range charts, so we'll see. Usually what happens on crude, so you've got the sell-off, the bounce, another sell-off, we'll have a bounce. You can see we have 1, 2 candles and then down right away, and then a couple up candles, but when it gets down to a lower area, I would expect it to have a little more bounce up to like 75 or 85. Just another thing, if you think of this is a 20-point sell-off. So 20-point sell-off, and in 1 bar it went, 2 bars it went 5, 12. So for me to see a trend change in the market, this would have to have a more serious check of the bull trend, and then that fail and take out the low. That's when you get those major. That's where you get the major sell-off, rally, and then falls apart. This kind of ground sideways. Didn't really, it took a lot to go down 10. Pretty sluggish. So let's look at the different possible sell off, spike, sell off, spike. You know, if there's a bottoming process, you have a low, a spike. I mean, I've noticed there's a lot of different ways it bounces. You have that first sell off, you can have the second sell off, and it keeps, as long as this first low holds, that's pretty good. We've had this rally, I would say we haven't even had a sell off yet. But it's only bounced, you know, from my anchor price, what, 3 points? Got lower highs. So you like to see this hold somewhere in here. You know, so you get sell off, and then a third sell off. Such a weak bounce, but there's really no sell offs either. So well, I guess we'll count that as the first one. It's the first time we had two candles together. Same thing with crude. Crude is just dead. Narrow 10-cent range all the way down. 20 cent bounce. See if it holds a low. Like to see it hold more in this area. So really the clues you would look for that the buy trend is back really going. Here's the, I mean, obviously you go to the shortest time frame possible, which is the 1 minute. So you could see we're holding in that low area, but we need to really take out this area to have the change in back to an uptrend, at least on the 1 minute, which is at 45.12. I'm starting to see some of my indicators turn on the NASDAQ to the upside. S&P was a little stronger. It almost hit that breakout spot. Let's go look at the 1 minute. So the rate of change you could start to see on crude oil come around. We'll take a look at the so I shut it down at 1113 plus 28 points, $280. That would be with the NASDAQ and crude. They're all flat though right now, so nothing going. So I always leave the systems running just to get where the P&L is and stuff like that. And you can get a feel of where the market is. But really the time of day, momentum or trending systems get beat up. So the idea of the anchor price is that I'll pick areas, I'll look at the chart here, I'll say, okay, I'll see where it gave, like in this case, you have where the price finally changed. You're getting lower lows, lower highs. Now you finally got a higher low, higher high. So this to me is an anchor price. So if I can get that price again, I like that. We've had our, I'd say 2 sell-offs now. I'd have a third move now. And see how that goes. And then the bigger test, if it can break above here though, that's better. You just see it's anemic though. 2-3 points. $13. We should gravitate back up to 13, but I don't know, this price action, especially this time of the day, feels like I can make a push lower, so we'll watch it. You'll see also too, as a trend, if the trend is changing to the downside, you'll get more acceleration on a sell-off in the afternoon, which is highly possible. So consolidation slash trend turn days. Look on a daily. It's called a doji today, so those days are a little bit trickier. If it is a trend change, we start a sell-off, then we'll hit the bigger swing trade systems tomorrow. Pretty good. In this afternoon, we'll hit the. It's either gonna hold that trend, and the shorter term systems will hit this afternoon, or the sell-off will hit. I'd probably lean towards the bullish side. So I'll put the short term hit and runs on systems on this afternoon. If I see anything, I'll jump into the room. If not, see you in the wrap-up call. Thanks a lot. If you have any questions, feel free to put it in the box. If you're in a trade or anything like that, let me know. If you want to manually trade, stuff like that. I'll monitor the systems and give updates going forward. Right now, they're pretty. NASDAQ and crude are short and flat on the shorter time frame. So is showing a turn in the market. So thanks a lot. We'll see you in the wrap-up call.